Hello and welcome back. This is Larry with Video Game Replay. Today, joining me is my co-host Aidan.
What's up, guys? Dilf in the building. Joining me is my co-host CJ.
What's going on? It's a good day to be alive.
It's a good cold day, is what the hell it is right now.
Everywhere. Everywhere,
Uh,
man.
if you're on the east side of the Rockies this time of year, 2025 starts out cold and full of snow. But either way, we're back. We're here today. We're going to talk about some Metal Gear. Um, Good to see you guys. How you been? What you been into this week, Aiden? What's been going on, dude?
Well, other than getting pretty cold, nothing much. Working. We got where we are. We got a lot of snow, which I don't like driving in because as I mentioned in the last episode, last time there was some snow, I put my car in a ditch. So I've been having to drive to work in these shitty conditions, and it has not been
Same.
good for me because I drive like a grandma. If it's like a 45-mile speed limit, I'm going 20. It's bad.
That's best. That's probably the best way to handle it this time of year with the way the roads have been
with the
around
rate
here.
with the way the roads are, they're like genuinely horrendous at times, especially at like 4 in the morning. They're really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
But
Fair.
other than that, I've been gaming a little bit, playing a little NBA 2K25, which is
Uh-uh.
it's something to do. It's fun. I mean, it's a rip off. It's the same game every year, but you play with some friends, you have some fun. Other than that,
I
staying cold, not really doing a whole lot.
I think the sports ball games is fun, but yeah, it's definitely to play them with folks. It's better than trying to do like what we're
Mhm.
doing, playing one players. I did love going through some Madden back in the day, but like I say, right now I get my ass handed to me by anybody on the internet. So, but
Almost anybody. You almost had me on
hey,
college football the one time until I pulled
okay,
some shit out of my ass.
this is
Whatever I
why
did.
This is why I forgot I don't fucking play sports games anymore because young punks like you keep beating my ass and you shouldn't. CJ, how you doing, man? How you living?
Good. You passed your bad juju about appliances to me because my microwave stopped heating. So I
All right.
don't know what's going on. And I wish it was as simple as picking it up and getting a new one and putting it down, but it's one of those units above the stove.
Oh,
So it's a landlord thing. And we also got a little snow here, and in this state, they do not plow the roads at all, really. So, and
oh
they also
wow.
use sand instead of rock salt. So, yeah, he doesn't want to travel to, don't blame him. It's whatever. But my favorite two snacks, queso with some chips and popcorn, have just gone out the window. So, getting a little antsy there. And other than that, same as Aiden, been running a little bit of 2K with him with a couple buddies back home, and been all right. Like he said, same game with friends. It's all right. Nah, pretty much just a money hungry grab. He mentioned the other day actually, so you can buy a do rag for your character in game, and it's
Okay.
10,000 virtual currency, and you can.
Okay.
It's roughly like what $6 or $8, Aiden,
Yeah.
like that. You can buy a do rag in
Damn.
real life cheaper than
You can
you
buy
can in the
a
game,
real life do rag cheaper for than what it is in game currency, which is insane.
and that's EA for you.
That
That's
sums up
anything
EA.
EA, anything
Anything.
EA, yeah. So
God.
yeah.
Oh, I wanted to give an
Hmm.
update as well.
Good.
I forgot to mention last episode. I talked about I think in the previous episode before our holiday break, mentioning the Cavs, saying the Cavs are 15-0. Woo! We're still not undefeated because we're getting late in the season. Not really late. We're like mid-season right now, but the Cavs are 33-4. Have
Damn.
a really good record. Everyone expected, we were gonna have the best record. Everyone thought that we were gonna be the best. It's not a shock to anyone. Everyone thought we were gonna be the best. We beat the Knicks, and then the Thunder came and whooped the Knicks' ass, and then the Thunder came and played us, and then we whooped the Thunder's ass. So that pretty much just proves the hierarchy here. The Knicks are pretty bad. Cavs are pretty good. Just wanted to.
What about how the Browns?
Now, Larry, how was your week?
My week's been pretty good, but I'll just touch that real quick. I'm pretty sure none of our asses are watching anybody we normally watch in the playoffs. So
Yeah, all three of our teams are
All
not in the
three of
playoffs.
us.
no, no. I I guess 2025. Let's go Lions. I want to see that happen.
I do
I want
too.
them to do well enough I can hate them late. I want to hate them in a couple years more than I do now. But
Thinking about rooting for the Packers myself this year.
you go to hell. You go to hell and you die. Um, Either way. Uh, Personally, life's been okay. I don't want to say I'm back in the rut, but boy, it's trying to pull me right back in. I can feel myself trying to climb out of it, but the snow and the fact that
Mhm.
I keep going to freaking work and shit. Yeah, let me tell that story real quick. This past weekend, we hung out, me and Aidan, over at the family house, and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they called off school, and from 5 until 8, uh, my daughter got called off from work, said you don't have to go. My wife gets that call. Uh, Her sister gets that call. Aiden's dad gets that call. Me, I'm like, They calling me? No,
Anytime,
no.
anytime now.
Yeah, so I got home. I probably made it back to my house a little about after 9:30. I text my boss. I'm like, so are you calling off for tomorrow? He goes, no, we still got business to do. I'm like, you realize like half the state's literally shut down. We got to be there. We got to show up. And I'm just like, it's like I'm not happy with that, but I won't get on that tangent. I'll go on that for a half hour.
Oh no, I could go on that for half an hour too, because I work. For those of you who don't know, I'm not giving too much, but I work security on some well sites, and as you know, there could be a tornado on the well site and they would not shut down. Like, and
Got a drill, baby.
and the lease road which I'm on, which is usually that's not part of the main road, and it leads up to the site. This one is more than 7 miles long, so it's a pain in the dick, and most of it is dirt road, and when a dirt road meets more than a foot of snow, it is unfun to drive. I'll just tell you that. Like they're
Are
having those
you?
big dump trucks put chains on their tires because it's so bad.
Oh, sure. Are you taking your vehicle up there?
I can't. I have to take my mom's vehicle because, well, one, it's
Okay,
still
yes.
my vehicle's still in the repair mode. I
Okay.
have a couple tire wells missing. I need a new door and a new bumper. But yeah, I've been taking my mom's vehicle because it actually has four-wheel drive and it's a little better. I'm still driving like a grandma, but it's a little better.
Fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Fair.
yeah. Well, I guess that's like I said, I don't want to get in that work tangent about that. We're here to get away from that. We're here to talk about some video games, but I know you both say you're playing was it 2K 27,000? Give me your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Aiden, you been playing anything else? I know. How's the Adventures of Hollow Knight working? Is that you're still your second game now?
Yeah, I've still been grinding Hollow Knight a little bit less. I hit a spot where I didn't last night. I at work, uh, as you guys know, at work security, and I work night shift, so you have a lot of free time. Actually, for some reason last night I didn't really touch Nintendo Switch. I was watching some of the NBA games that were happening. I was just watching some YouTube.
Hey,
So
what's wrong with that?
not gaming
I
as
like
much,
this.
but still, yes,
All right. Sorry, like I say you guys. I know you both are big basketball guys. I haven't been in years. I mean, like I say, last time I was a basketball guy, the Oklahoma Thunder was still Seattle. So,
Fair.
um,
Fair.
but so CJ, how about you? Been playing any other games? Or you just getting your NBA fix in too?
Honestly, for the most part, just some NBA fix. In my other free time, I've been watching the hell out of Better Call Saul. I started it over my break from work, and I love it, dude. I'm addicted to it. It's really good. So I've
How
been
how uh how deep are you in that? With the roughly where you
almost
at?
the end of season two. I think maybe 2 episodes left of season two. It's definitely spicing up. I enjoy it pretty well. I thought I would like it, and I was like, well, I don't know if I want to watch Breaking Bad first because people say watch it first. I was like, 10 seasons, like I don't know. Let me watch this.
you
Fair
can
to
watch
say,
it
I'll
without.
probably go on to Breaking Bad after. That's what they said. Yeah, you can watch it without, thankfully. But
Breaking
I
Bad is
love
really
the old
good.
dude.
You should watch
That's what
it,
I've
but
heard.
it's definitely it's a time investment, and it's
Yeah,
definitely it has some slow parts. I'll give you that, but as I don't really think I was gonna say it has the highs, has its lows. I feel like even the slow parts are pretty good, and it's not like any bad writing. It's slow at parts, but I would definitely watch
yeah.
Breaking Bad.
I was gonna say I plan on at least trying it out after. Probably will take me a good while. I'm terrible about honestly, unless I'm staying up all night to watch it. I feel like I don't have time. It's actually I couldn't sleep one night. I threw it on over my break and it's like midnight, and I watched it till like 6 in the morning. Made my
Oh
girlfriend go
God,
back and watch the first season so that we could be on the same page. And now here we are. So it's good though. It's good.
that's good. I mean, I would say it's good to have things that time of year where we all gotta get in and do something. I wanted to share with you guys a game I've been playing. I started it. I don't know if I mentioned probably back towards the end of last year. I started playing a game called Colonization. It's a 5X game like Civilization. It's actually the same people made it, just it's a little more focused around America. Um, that was my. I can take time to play this game and watch Dragon Ball Super. So that's how I get through like 100 episodes of that. But slow down on the Super, but I'm still playing the same game of Colonization I've been in for a while. And like I say, it's I don't know if you guys ever played Civilization or anything like that.
I've seen it, but I haven't played it myself.
No.
It's a turn-based game. You got build resources. You got to build units, establish cities, and all that. And this one, like I say, is set around the American Americans landing on America and then developing up through basically the Revolutionary War. That's the time frame that it goes through.
I can't. I
And
I think I've played a game similar to that. I can't remember what it's called though. It was I have it on Steam, but I don't want to look right now just because I would have to
yeah,
tab out. But it's something exactly like that. Like you have to farm sheep, and you have to send villagers to go get wood to build, and then people to go get stone. I can't think of what it's called
that
though.
that actually, I don't know. I almost for a second it sounds like Warcraft or Command and Conquer type stuff. I think that's a little more real time than this. This is all turn based icons moving from this spot of the checkerboard to that spot.
Oh,
And
I
then when you go
gotcha.
in the city, you have to manage resources around the city.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't have to send units out to do stuff.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's just another classic game from back in the day. It's a DOS game. I like I say, at some point in time after this season, I'm gonna see if I can get you boys learn how to do some DOS and turn you on some really old weird shit. But who knows? That's always a possibility. But that's pretty much what I've been playing. So I don't know. It's that time of year where I just break out a game that's long, enduring, takes a little while, but also doesn't take a whole lot of attention. You can stop and like say watch an episode or something or catch up on. Say, ooh, I want to see that part. You can do all
Hmm.
those kind of things. It's one of those. But tonight we're gonna talk about something. It's definitely a little longer than anything we've played recently. Um, but I think it's a very good game. And the game of this week we're talking about is Metal Gear for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Uh, Metal Gear was created in 1987 for the MSX, which is important, but we played the Nintendo Entertainment version, which is a port of that game, which came out in June of 1988. This was developed by the Rockstar video game creators, Hideo Kojima. Published under Ultra Games, which I've got a little bit about that, and the genre of this seems to be considered an adventure game, but it's basically the first stealth game. The first, get out there, do it, don't get killed. But I want to take a second to tell you guys, God, I don't know how to like cram a history lesson. I'm gonna cram one in less than 2 seconds here. 2 minutes. Seconds is like shit. Either way, you have the video games that happened, then you had what was called the Atari Crash. Atari Crash was basically somewhere around early 83, 84, where they were so pumped full of shit games that shovelware, like your phones are now, you just got tons of shovelware everywhere. And Atari was that. So how did you want to pay $40, $50 for that shit? So that caused the great video game crash of the 80s. Nintendo shows up on American shores, says, hey, we got this new Nintendo thing. They do the little thing to put it together. But what they did was they created the Nintendo Seal of Approval. The Nintendo Seal of Approval was the guarantee from Nintendo that we're not going to sell you crap. We are bringing a game that's going to kick ass. And, we've touched some of those Donkey Kongs, um, Super Mario Brothers, the original, things like that. These are all seal of approval. With this means that you as a company couldn't make 100 games a year. How could you put out something good if you did that? Well, Konami had been in the game for a while, working on the Japanese side of this whole thing, and what they ended up doing was, I have all these good games. What will you do? Help us put out more. So they created Ultra games, which Nintendo allowed because they're getting their kickbacks on all the cartridges going out anyways. But this basically was a shell company that Konami created, which they use as a publishing label for their games that they already had out. And Metal Gear is the first one of those that came out for that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES, the original game, that was an Ultra game. There were several of them, but they're basically just Konami games with a different label on them. So I at least wanted to bring up that idea that shell games and or shell software companies and all that stuff were just not new to the world, but there's a reason they had to put that out. But
Okay.
um, this game, Metal Gear, you play a Solid Snake, a rookie special forces soldier in the group known as Foxhound, where your mission is to infiltrate the enemy base known as Outer Heaven, save your comrade Gray Fox, and collect some intel on whatever Outer Heaven is up to or in planning, which happens to be Metal Gear. Metal Gear itself is a mobile artillery unit capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. Uh, it's basically a nuclear capable mech in the simplest form to draw the picture for folks. If you're old enough like me, it's an Ed 309 that has a missile launcher on its back. But considering it's 1980 something, this was pretty deep. And I think of the games we've played so far, even with Mega Man, maybe a little bit deeper, but I don't know. Aidan, what do you think?
I feel like it was definitely refreshing. Uh, just the type of game. Just from what we've been playing, we've definitely past couple videos you guys have seen we've been doing some NES extras or teams like. But even beyond that, it definitely seems like this game was more in depth and more deep and more thought out. And I enjoyed it. It was fresh. It was new. And compared to some other games, it felt like you were kind of I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like more of a story game. It felt like you had an end goal and you were working towards that. I feel like most other games that we've played hasn't hasn't been like that, but I definitely enjoyed that aspect of the game.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, and I think that you like say outside of saving princesses, Doctor Light a little bit, but yeah, I think there's definitely a little more story in this. How do you feel about it, C?
Yeah, kind of really similar actually. In my little cliff notes, I typed up. I used the word fresh too. I said it was a little different. I think in a way it kind of reminds me of Contra, except with more meat to it, kind of thing. It's with Contra you
Yeah,
do have the story of it, but here it's more of like the little bit of an explorer in a way where it's not just so straight line the way that Contra is, to where you have to do this. Like you really are like infiltrating and being sneaky, and it's different. And like you said, I thought it was the first of its kind, but I'm using you then. If you said first of its kind, first of its kind of thing. It definitely, I imagine when it came out, it was probably even fresher than it is to me because at least I've seen games like this. But to find one on this platform when I didn't really think there was that much of games like this on a platform like the NES, kind of fresh. Yeah, it was kind of nice to dive into something with a little meat behind it, and I did like the stealth a lot. Honestly, the stealth just different. It's not so run and gun in there and go just start beating shit up like you had to use your resources and sneak and be smart about it. And it was definitely different.
I want to say though,
well,
right before that, who is the asshole big boss that is dropping us in this enemy camp with nothing but our bare hands? I mean, you could have given. I mean, we have to find a pistol to use. I mean, give us a pistol for God's sake.
I'm gonna say this as a former smoker. Why do you drop me in the damn jungle with a pack of cigarettes and no lighter?
No lighter, no
No
matches, no
lighter.
nothing, dude.
Can't even
Yeah,
light some shit
I
on
mean that's
fire. You're just barehanding it.
yeah. It's like
God
now I gotta
forbid,
like go
yeah.
through and try to. I don't even know. It's like I just that's the ultimate pain as a smoker. I can always remember it's like you would have cigarettes but no light, and it's just like this is reason 712 you should quit. Um, this game it had its beginnings on the MSX, and basically that's the Microsoft something or other in Japan. It was a DOS computer for Japanese consumers, and Hideo Kojima made this for the MSX because he wanted to be for Nintendo, but they said, "Oh, you wanted to do this computer, right?" And he wanted to make a kind of a run and gun more like Contra, but the computer, the MSX, wasn't able to handle all the gunfire and numerous enemies coming through, so he switched it up and made it the stealth game, and that's kind of where the concept came. So it's a great idea that came out of necessity, and truthfully, I know from back in the day, it's playing with Aidan's dad and his uncle. Like I say, this is the game I borrowed off of them constantly. You know, like I'll give you a Mario 2 again. It's like just take it, dude. Just go bring it back when we want it. So played the crap out of this game. Compared to the MSX version, and I know we didn't go into much detail, but you guys didn't see it. But just to give you a little touch up on it, there is differences. Like in the NES one, we have to go through the jungle. In the MSX one, you basically come out of the water like you would be a spy and sneak into the building, and probably about one or two screens up, you've pretty much hit the same map of the first building you go into.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different, but the graphics look really the same. It's a little more detailed. The color palettes are all different. There's plenty of stuff you can find about that, but I think for 1988, this is a very good looking game. Um, CJ, you got a thought about that? Were you impressed with what you've seen from 40 years ago?
Yeah, in a way, it was kind of at first was overwhelming a little bit. I was like, wow, like didn't really, like I kind of mentioned with Contra, it's just so one dimensional straight line, and this was open that up completely. It's not really, it doesn't feel like things we've played like DuckTales where you're only moving left and right, and it definitely doesn't feel like Contra where you're kind of in a way just completely linear. I mean, it really feels go anywhere you want. The my one big gripe with the graphics is at first I didn't realize that the trees were trees like that I could hide behind. So I was getting really pissed off at first, but I was trying to sneak around. I was like, man, there's like no cover in this damn jungle. Once it hit me, then I'm like, okay, 40 years ago, this is a tree. This makes a lot of sense. But at first, I definitely that frustrated the hell out of me. But and the way the enemies moved was it was gimmicky. I liked it. You could just kind of fuck with them. You kind of like takes me back to Black Ops Zombies days and stuff playing Call of Duty. You can just kind of run in circles and make them kind of dick off, run into each other, whatever, run through each other, and just felt like you could easily kind of get away from it. I kind of like that aspect of it in a way.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I know again, you come moving up in your imagination. You gotta look back to where, you were
Yeah.
Atari, and this is like serious growth. I mean, it's a whole nother gen of it. Um, Aiden, did you see something that made you think that this is worthy of your eyes?
I I enjoyed the graphics. I thought the graphics were cool. One thing that I want to, and I guess this would count as graphics, I thought was like interesting point is just
Go ahead.
the idea, or I really like the perspective of this game. You're kind of like, you have the perspective of you're looking down. It's kind of an open world, but you're looking down. But
Yeah.
you have to keep in mind the perspective of your player and the enemies. So like on your screen, you see all these enemies, but from the perspective of, is it Snake in this game? Is that who you're playing as, right?
Yes.
From the perspective of Snake, and like none of the enemies can see you, and I feel like that's interesting playing around that. Like if you're behind a box, like you can see everyone, but if you like, even though you're like top down looking at it from the perspective of the enemies, like they can't see Snake, or for like if you're hiding in the corner of the shadows, it'd be hard for them to see you. But I feel like kind of the play on that and how they did that and how they tied that in with the open worldness of it. I feel like it was for its time. Not even the graphics. I thought the graphics were good. I mean, they didn't blow me away. I mean, for the time period, they were good. Uh,
Yeah.
but I feel like just that aspect and how they did that, I feel like was really cool.
Yeah, I can
The
agree with that.
I do like the idea, like you say, you get because I know in later versions of Metal Gear, like when you get the PlayStation and all that, it's 3D,
Mm.
feels almost first person, third person, where you can You can see around that corner and all that, but this one here kind of gives you more of the every screen's a puzzle kind of feel.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think props to limitations, because I remember that distinctly being part of the issues that they had with it, but that's what made Hideo Kojima end up doing the way he did this game. And yeah, I do like that you can hide behind the box and they can't see you. Did you know that I'd watched a thing where they basically broke down the AI of this game, and pretty much their vision is straight line.
Really?
Yes,
Yes,
you
it
can
seemed that
literally.
way, kind of.
There's spots where you can stand next to the box, probably square or two lower than the enemy, and he'll walk right past you because you did not hit his lightest
Yeah.
line of sight. And when he turns, it locks down to the down. It doesn't catch the 45-degree that catches
Mm-hmm.
in there. So there's some sloppy points in it, but on the same token, it recognizes you. Did you guys get a chance to see some of those little small quirks? Like if you stood around long enough, it tells you, go ahead, it's your turn. And like
Mm-mm.
on the
I was
elevator, I think it
moving.
tells you it's like shift change.
I definitely the people outside of the doors,
Hmm.
guarding the doors. I'd kind of wait, and I'm like, well, let's see, let me unpack this, and yeah, okay, somebody else take over, and they start walking away. So I mean,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
always waited for that because if not, the big dudes were beefy looking. So.
Well, that's the thing that got me though was with that. This is a mechanic you show us early in this game.
Mhm,
Like the first building, you have it. Like I said, at the door, you go up to that
mhm,
same floor, the elevator up there. If you stood there long enough, the guy's like, "Oh, okay, your turn." Then it never happens again.
mm, yeah.
So it's like we taught you something that can happen, and then we don't ever do it again. Um, did you guys get the opportunity to see the cover of this video game?
I'm
And it's
pretty
not
sure
too
Now that you
graphics,
say
but
that,
I have
I didn't
because
look
I
at it.
I was
No.
looking at pictures of it online, and I'm pretty sure you showed me
And
at
I
let's.
one point
did.
maybe.
Yeah.
And again, I
Okay.
just to
Yeah.
bring it up in the thing. I don't know if you ever watched The Terminator, but this is Kyle Reese. This is the
Okay. Yeah.
father
No,
of
that makes
John
Oh,
sense.
Connor.
That makes
Literally
sense.
that guy.
huh.
And Hideo Kojima had nothing to do with it. They found this. They commissioned some guy to draw it, and he said, "Okay, great, that works. Here's your $10." Um, for those watching, that is a Metal Gear. Just in case you're curious what you're looking for. This thing goes on and becomes great on that. But um, I do know that another change in this was the soundtrack because of the music capabilities of the MSX versus Nintendo. But I still think this was pretty jamming considering it was I don't say stealth, but oh yeah, it felt dangerous. It felt 007ish,
Mm.
spy espionage type of
1,000%.
stuff.
Yeah. Agree all the
Uh,
way.
And you have those
you haven't?
the soundtrack like when you were actually alerted the soundtrack's changing. I feel like that really helps the environment. I'm like, oh shit, I got to get out of here, and you kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
like soundtrack like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he got me.
Yeah. No, totally agree. The jungle sound alone, I mean, was perfect intro. Like the first sound you hear
Do,
really
do,
puts you in play. Dude, it's
do,
yeah,
do.
like it definitely puts you in first person in a way. It's I liked that a lot. Speaking of sounds, one thing I hope you guys can agree. If not, you might just be crazy. One sound that pissed me the fuck off. Pulling up that goddamn transmitter, dude. Holy shit. Woo! That shit had me pissed. I was really fucking annoyed. I'm gonna be honest. I did not like to pull it up if I did not have to. Holy shit.
Yeah, everything about that transmitter actually is kind of piss you off.
Fucking dumb. Why does it not sit on? I go to point 80 or point 85. How about we just stay in that ballpark? Why are you putting me back at 0? I didn't do that. I'm only talking to you right now, boss. Like, let me just talk right back to you. No, I go back to square one. And it's not like a quick type it in. I gotta sit there and fucking scroll all the way back up to his digits. That have me. The transmitter, not my favorite part. Cool concept. I didn't like it.
Well, this part of the concept's there, but also it's another old school video game trope of they're expecting you to have a notepad close at hand, take notes
Yeah.
and write shit down. And from what I can remember, I think there's at least 4 to 6 different frequencies that you would use.
Mm-hmm.
Big Bosses gets changed at some point.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, I think that's part of what they wanted out of that. But yeah, that transceiver is just a pain in the ass. I guess later on in later games it helps build the story, but um,
It kind of did its part with that here too, but just frustrating.
how about you, eh? You got any of those songs still stuck in your head today, or?
Actually, I went through before this, and I just looked up all the soundtracks again on YouTube and listened to them again, and
Mm-hmm.
I really liked them. I mean, a lot of them I recognize from outside the game, and I've heard them before, which that's
Yeah.
always interesting to see the origins of some of these musics. As we saw, I think the DuckTales Moon Level uh
Mhm.
had some like very iconic music to it, and it's just cool to see where this music actually came from, and it's interesting like this music that I've heard my everyday life, and I literally hear some of these songs on like TikTok and stuff in background, and you could go and
Mhm.
find them playing like a game from 1980. I'm like, oh shit, this is where that's from. Like that's always cool.
Right.
I think the exclamation out of this game is probably the biggest pop culture mainstream thing that pops
Yeah,
up.
like
Like,
that pops up beside their head, like, oh, I see you, like, dun.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, and
Yeah.
even the sound. I've been walking through the mall and I've heard that surprise sound. I'm like, what the hell? Is there gonna be people running here in a second? I can recall going through those and all that. Um, well, I know we talked about this a little bit before earlier. I understand. Like I said, I honestly didn't expect that within a week that you guys would have beaten this game. It's hard to follow along, especially like I say with giving it some deal. But Aiden, share some of your experience with us. How did you feel playing the game? What did you like about playing the game? What didn't you like?
full transparency to our audience here. I played for about an hour beforehand, trying to figure some shit out, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just running around dying and like exploring. I have no clue what I'm doing. So then we went to using a guide, and I realized I don't know how I would have done it if I know you used a guide too up there. Put
Oh, yeah.
fingers
Didn't even
down.
use a guide. Didn't
Yeah,
even use a
okay. We
guide,
both
dude.
used a guide because we had no clue what we were doing. And I honestly I'm not gonna put this against the game, honestly. It I can see how you would. Because it's so confusing if I wouldn't use the guide. I don't know how I'd figure it out. But also as you were saying, they're expecting you to use a notepad. And I'm sure at the time you pay a price for this game. Uh and you kind of want to explore around and have a little bit of be confused a little bit and have a little bit of a challenge. So like I understand in that aspect, but I like the game. Feel like it's a very interesting concept. It's something you don't see. Uh, Definitely. I assume this is kind of the foundation for any type of stealth genre game, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the first one. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was cool, and it felt compared to some of the other NES games that we've played, a lot more in depth and a lot more stories. I mean, as we can see, they built an empire of Metal Gear games off of this, so obviously there's a pretty in depth story to it. Overall, I mean, I enjoyed this game for what it was. I liked it. I don't know. What about you, C?
I could get down with that. I think one thing that you said that kind of just popped a thought in my head is, yeah, it had more depth. And if you look at things like Mario that have also continued on all of this, all this time, it's kind of different because with Mario, I feel like, if you really want to get into the story and lore, you almost have to look outside of the game itself a lot. Not
Mhm.
with this. When you play Metal Gear, everything story wise is in the game, which is really nice compared to like you guys saying. I mean, we're playing DuckTales. There's a little story, but it's kind of like, oh, let's just go get some money. We're playing Mario, and it's like, oh, just jump and go through the level, and eventually you'll get a princess. Same thing with Donkey Kong, and it's this had like an actual like, don't fuck up, dude. Like, do not fuck up, and it really it made you sweat a little bit. I definitely didn't use a walkthrough like whatever Aiden's saying. I just crushed ass. Now, yeah, I definitely needed a walkthrough. My least favorite part about the game probably is the need for a walkthrough. I was gonna be more critical than Aiden at first. I think he gave me some perspective. At the time, you're paying for this game, and especially of the time, yeah, no, you know what? The lack of a walkthrough and just kind of figuring shit out on your own probably was more appreciated than I appreciated it, because I definitely didn't appreciate it at all. But at the time, I think that would make more sense. I definitely like how interactive the map itself is with like the hiding in cover, the truck moving once you get in it. The cameras, I mean, the cameras is genius. You can get up close to the wall. It totally makes sense. I feel like that's something that not every game does. Not every game does that. You're just inside of the camera. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm up against the wall. Obviously, the camera's not looking straight down at me. Totally logical. It makes a lot of sense. I like that part. Fuck the cardboard box. That thing was useless. I tried.
What?
Yeah, cameras don't like moving boxes apparently. And one thing I love, I was pissed. I went back before this. I tried finding a few more. I could only think of the one off the top of my head. I went back through the walkthrough that I watched while I played, and I was looking for them. But there's some mistypes in the chat boxes, if you guys saw it. And the one that cracks me up, it's the very first dude. When you walk out, he says, whatever, I think I'm getting tired. And he said, I feel asleep. It's just,
Yeah, I feel like
there was a couple more,
that was
but it
definitely
was
some
funny. I
translation
can't
error there
remember.
throughout the game a little bit.
And it was fun. It cracks me up because it's just one of those things. It just happens. It's a game of its time. It's gonna happen. The translation. They weren't making sure it was perfect. And man, I feel asleep. It's funny, and especially the fact that he's exclaiming that he's asleep while you walk past him. It's just hilarious. So overall, I mean, good concept, fresh feeling, the stealth aspect, one of a kind in the time. Overall, I mean, I have more good to say about it than bad. So.
Well, I mean, just to reach out and just kind of ask. I mean, how far did you get? Did you beat a boss? Did you get to a spot? What's kind of gives an idea how far you made it
Yeah.
into it over a week.
Okay. I ended up, yeah, like Aiden said, I tried probably about 30 minutes, not as long as him. I'm not that patient to figure it out. Was not having my way. The walkthrough, I had to put it on 0.5 speed too because I was just too fucking slow. I didn't realize that I could sneak up on the bad dudes at first either. So I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I'm just getting fucked up here. I was like, I can't, these guys aren't falling asleep too. Like, everybody's not falling asleep. The dogs were pissing me off. Didn't realize I could just beat the shit out of them, like some football players and stuff. So, eventually, after I put on the walkthrough and slowed it down, I ended up making it. I beat the shotgunner. And I kind of felt some type of way about A, getting my shit stolen, and B, the walkthrough, I kept having to tab out, click on the walkthrough, and back it up, even at 0.5 speed. I was getting frustrated. So after I beat the shotgunner, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call it quits. That's about my progress level on it.
I
Aiden,
made it.
make it
I
any
made
better?
it to. I think I was close to level 3. I made it to level 2. I helped my 4 hostages. I made it to level 2. I beat the shotgunner. I got my shit back, and then progressed a little further. Helped a couple more hostages. Uh, and then I beat the twin shooter guys, and
Okay.
a couple levels after that, I think is when I called it quits or pause and just never came back. Never got the time to come back to it. I can definitely see myself coming back to it, but I will touch up some things I forgot about. Something interesting. Super Smash Bros. On the Wii.
Hmm?
Snake was a character. I like I
Yeah.
Mhm.
when selecting Snake, I had no clue where he's from, and and he had like a thing where he could go in a box. I'm like, this is so weird. Why is he going in a box? And when I like was able to go in a box, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And, like this is where all those years, I'm finally finding out that this is what it is. And I feel like that was interesting.
It's his gimmick. I'm mad at myself because when you said brought the box CG, I was like, shit, I was gonna bring a prop and just wear the box, but like you guys can't see me. I'm like John Cena over here or something. Um, my first playthrough of this, and this is really just coming back from what I can remember out of my head. Again, many years experience reading Nintendo Powers, guides, different stuff. Pre-internet world. Playing a shit ton of this game, getting so mad at it. I got through everything that you guys talked to, and I got up to the tank. This puts you about halfway through the game, um, linear in the linear line of it. But I defeated the tank and pretty much stopped myself there. Later on, I came back and I got further, but I wanted to stop and tell this story. I think somewhere my dad would be He'd laugh and he'd also be pissed off for what it cost him. This has to be somewhere around 1989, maybe 1990. Nintendo Power had the expert line, the help line. And it's one of those, $3.95 a minute and $2.99 for every additional minute. And I'm going to use some of the experience I've gained over the last 30 years of living that these people who work there are experts in playing these games. They know the answer, but they want you to figure out the answer so you feel like you've accomplished something. So I call about this game because I have invested this much time of my life that I am willing to take the ass beating that's coming with this $15 phone call. 1990s money. That's if you had a
Yeah.
minimum wage job, dude, that was 4 hours of work. Either way, I call, I have to wait. They burn that first minute instantly, just giving you messages and hold, please, and all that shit. I get in there, I'm talking to this guy. I said, hey, man, I'm playing Metal Gear. He goes, you old enough? Like, yeah, my dad said I could. I'm like, look, I'm playing Metal Gear. And I've gotten to the tank, and I can't beat this damn tank. What am I missing? He goes, well, what would you use to take? I'm like, landmines? That's right. I'm using landmines. Well, are you laying them in front of the tank? I'm like, yes. And we go round and round for a while. I'm like, dude, why is this not working? And he says, what rank are you? Like, 2? He goes, oh, well, you need 14 mines to destroy that. Like, well, how do I get more ranks? Like, how do you think you do? I'm like, never mind, dude. Like, at least I know I gotta go back and work. Thanks, appreciate it. Hung up. What I thought was a $15 phone call that I was willing to get my ass beat turned into a $32 phone call that basically cost me the I have to now paint the house.
Oh no.
No, take it back porch, but still, I worked for it. Dad was so pissed.
Oh god.
That's
So
crazy. I'll be pissed about that in today's money. $32
yeah,
phone
Yeah,
call. I
right.
mean,
Thank
well,
God
that
for the
was
internet, dude. Holy shit. Like,
yeah, but
you
that
know how
was the
much money I
shit
would
that
have
went.
spent on the helpline for this game, dude? Like, would put a whole year's salary into it.
How do I get past these damn dogs?
Well, is the
So
guy sleeping? I don't know. He said I fell asleep.
we'll stand there and wait another minute while we sit there and see if he falls asleep.
Yeah, right. Oh, those ones don't. Okay. Fucker.
Um, but yeah, like I said, after my first playthrough of it, I got through about there, and with the help of the walkthrough, because I can't beat what I call the second half of this game without a walkthrough myself. Just one because it wasn't gone through enough in my brain as something I can remember. But I did meet the end of this game. I beat the end of it again. I beat it before, but again, using walkthroughs. I've never beat this straight out. I don't think you can. I don't even know if there would be a book that would lead me to it, but I did find the end of it. I won't spoil it for you all. Um, but it comes around, and actually, like I say, should you get back to it? Should you not get back to it? It's a good story, and there's actually a couple videos out there that actually give this in a anime rundown. But I
Nice.
can't say
Yeah.
I myself, I really can't say that it's a game I come back to every year, but every so often I can come back to it. It's something about this military ops feel that gives me a desire, a want to be Snake, Solid Snake. Did you feel any of that, eh? Did you feel the need to be Solid
Did you
Snake?
feel
And
any solid snake, Aiden?
I felt a little bit of Solid
I was
Snake,
I
but
was trying to dance around it, but I just walked right into it.
I feel like what makes me appreciate the game and just the environment of this game is I can see a movie being made about this game, or like I can imagine someone actually doing this in real. Like I can't imagine a duck like in real life, a movie about a duck jumping around like a 2D plane on a pogo stick. But like
Okay,
I
okay.
can imagine like a game like this and like Robert Downey Jr. as a black guy playing this game. Robert Downey Jr. or somebody playing this game, sneaking into this facility with nothing but a cigarette and no lighters, and like actually taking it down. I feel like that feeds the environment of something not ultra realistic, but I can see I can see it happening in some movie in some fictional world, and I mean that helps. I enjoyed the game. I really liked the music. I feel like the graphics were good for its time. I honestly, I'm I'm invested in the Metal Gear story, and I might buy some Metal Gear games in the future. So honestly, I might come back to this game. It's pretty rare for me to come back to a game because I get bored pretty easily. But I feel like I probably would come back to this game.
I would say that it's a good opportunity to at least get the story together on it. If you follow your walkthrough, let me step back and I'll say this. I know I keep saying walkthrough and my generation, oh, that's pussy shit. You shouldn't do that shit. I'm like, you know what? I think we have established this early. I'm a married man. I got kids. You guys, you're trying to live your lives, do your things, play a game for entertainment. These were designed for people who had 60 hours of nothing better to do with their damn time except watch TV that didn't involve them until after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So guess what you're doing during the summer?
Mm.
Oh
You
yeah.
were playing games or you were playing Nintendo. So this is what you had. But I think as a walkthrough, especially with a lot of these games were very cryptic. Um, yeah, I mean you can't blame nobody for playing an NES game with a freaking walkthrough, man. That's there's some shit in some other games that just don't happen. But
Oh, I, I,
uh,
I fully support walkthroughs. Another thing. I mean, you have games like NES. It's cryptic. You want to reach another level of cryptic? You should play some Elden Ring. I'm just telling you. There's some quests in Elden Ring. I kid you not. You could play. You could play Elden Ring for probably 10 days straight without sleep, and there would be some quest lines that you would not even come close to touching. Like there's some like things like go to this side of the map and talk to this random guy that is invisible. But once you walk over this path, you become uninvisible and talk to him. And on the other side of the map, you need a needle. Find this needle and bring it to here. And like without a walkthrough or without somebody on YouTube telling me to do this, I would never discover it if I played it for 10 years straight. So, but I also I enjoy because games like Elden Ring where you have to pay money and you invest a lot of time and money. I enjoy the aspect of I beat this game, but if I play it again, I can have a whole new experience and I can run into things that I've never even seen before. So I can definitely see the use for that for something like Metal Gear. Like, oh shit, I never went into this room or I never killed this guy or something like that. You get your money's worth or in time's worth.
Fair.
well, I mean, I'll sell that spoiler on it. It feels very open world. It feels like you can, and you can take several different paths. Watching a couple different walkthroughs, I realize there's 3 or 4 different ways, really. Well, 2 or 3 different ways to really get started and move with the game. But at some point, you just hit the path of
Mhm.
linearity, and then you just follow it through. But um, DJ, thanks. What you
Yeah.
got?
To touch on something about the movies, I know I keep going back to Mario for some reason. I just early time games. It's the first one in my head always. Have any of you ever watched like some of the early Mario movies? They're fucking terrible. They're
Yeah, I remember some
terrible.
old Mario cartoons that I would watch, and
Oh, I'm not even talking cartoons. I will never forget how crushed my fucking heart got when I went to the Red Box at Shop and Save, and I'm like, Mom, holy shit, I need Mario. It's just two greasy motherfuckers doing shit in the real world, and I'm not gonna lie,
Oh,
fucking terrible,
oh,
dude. It was not good. Um,
oh! You're talking the one with the big Italian guy and John
yeah,
Leguizamo was Luigi.
yes, it
Yeah.
was so bad. So, yeah, that compared to what you could do with something with like Metal Gear. Speaking of, supposed to be a movie coming out in like 2025, Metal Gear Solid Snake. So
Oh,
could be pretty cool. I guess they talked about it a little bit in 2024, kind of dropped like maybe a little bit of a teaser, and now it's murmuring back up now that 2025 is here and it might come out this year or next year. So it could be good, especially I mean, you give it 40 years to age like fine wine with all this CGI and stuff we have now. I mean, it could be pretty badass. So that would be cool. Um, honestly, concept overall, 10 out of 10. I mean, like maybe even ahead of its time. I mean, if nobody did this until shit, I don't know, like the PS1, you know how big that would like of a breakthrough that would be kind of thing. So I mean, in a way I felt like maybe ahead of its time because you do kind of need a little more in-game guidance. So like if this would be the first of its time on something like the PlayStation 1 where you could have a little more in-game walkthrough with it, I mean, holy shit. So I mean, I think that's really why a lot of the later ones succeed too and keep going because you build onto it and you have more that you can put in the game to where you're not stuck on painting the back porch to get tips and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I mean, overall though, I mean, definitely a really fun concept. They put you in place, music and all, drop you shithead boss like Aiden said, no lighter. I mean, I like it. It's definitely it was different. It was nice to not be play Donkey Kong in a way in comparison.
The as I sit here listening to you two guys, you've molded an idea and a thought that I didn't really have about this before. This itself, outside of being like its own stealth genre, could be like you guys kept bringing up movies. You could see this as being a movie. Would
Hmm.
this almost be our first example, maybe at least of like an interactive movie? Because I know some games feel like that. Like you're playing like
Hmm.
Grand Theft Auto. If you follow the mainline
Yeah.
story, it feels like a movie
Hmm.
that you
Hmm.
get to do some of the driving in and some of the actions, but all your hard points give you cutscenes. You don't have cutscenes here, but you do get a lot of dialogue that helps fill in the holes.
Hmm.
It could be. It
Yeah,
could be the first of its kind. I mean,
pioneer.
you have like examples of new gen, which is like the new God of War, which is pretty much an interactive movie. Like it has
Hmm.
like cutscenes and animation so good it looks like a movie. I mean, but I can literally see an actor play Snake in this situation, and I can see like every step of the way a movie, and it
Yeah, I mean
could
the
be. I'm thinking about
text
it.
bubbles were pretty much just pre-cutscene on it. You know what I mean? That essentially was the cutscene. Imagine, you walk in the room and you free your first person, and it's kind of like they're talking to you for a second. Yeah, you probably feel like you just walked in, and you're kind of envisioning what you're like in the first person view of getting this fucking prisoner, and he's filling you in a little bit. You're getting the other transmitter codes from him, and kind of does feel like that's kind of a cutscene. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
Yeah,
yeah, you might have hit that one. It might be like the pioneer.
yeah. I just like I said, the way you put it, because like I said, I've always just thought of it as Metal Gear, and I'm sitting here looking at my notes. I'm like, it's a great story early on, and it reads like a book on the idea that I want to know what happens next. I want to keep going with it. So I mean, that's kind of what puts my brain in. But I wanted to ask you, and I'll start with you, CJ. I am one of the 15-year-old kids that we knew from back in the day, and I walked. He's like, dude, I got this Metal Gear game. What do you think? Should I play this? What do you say?
Yeah. Okay. So, first off, if you show me the cover, I'm gonna say fuck yeah, that's for sure. um, if I was say I grew up with you and you told me about it and I watched you play it for 15 minutes, I'm gonna tell you go yeah fuck yeah play this game right now like 100% go pick up this game and play it, dude. Like you got to see this. It's the first of its kind. Like yeah, or like look what I got for Christmas. Like holy, you got to come over and check out this game. I think looking back on it, if you don't mind either a challenge or the walkthrough itself, give it a shot. But if you want to figure it out on your own, good luck. It's difficult. If you don't mind the walkthrough, kind of nice to see the pioneer. I'm typically anti going back to games, is normally what I say.
Yeah,
Me personally, I probably would. It almost piques my interest in Metal Gear itself, but maybe not necessarily the NES version. Maybe I want to go pick up something a little more fine tuned later down the road, kind of thing to play. Um,
yeah.
just because it's gonna be similar but more immersive. So I think me going back to it's probably a no, but later installments in the series probably yeah. I think I would. I definitely am interested. I have one on my Xbox One that I played maybe 10 minutes of, and then it was like, eh. But I was like 14. This is something I could probably get into. I think I could play some later installments and have a pretty good time with it. So
I uh, I have I've heard that these almost I don't say feel the same, but are kind of samey. But these updates, but I feel like when you hit solid, it's this game just re-upped on and all that. So
mhm,
if that's what you got, take a shot at it. Maybe I say either
yeah.
way, let us know how that goes. But Aiden,
If I had
what do you got to tell that kid that wants to play Metal Gear?
I'd have 3 questions for him. I was like, "Do you have a lot of free time? Do you have your parents' credit card? And do you have an unpainted back porch? That's what I. That's what I'd ask him. So like, if so, this game is perfect. But you're gonna have to. You're gonna need a lot of free time, because I'm an adult from the future, and I couldn't figure this thing out with the internet. So good luck, kid from the '90s. That's probably what I tell him. But I'd probably say go for it, dude. You got the money. It's a cool game. It's interesting. It's fresh. If you played some of the other NES games, I'd probably tell him to drop a few dollars on it, maybe multiple dollars.
Um, well, I mean, I think of it just the same token. I know I've heard other people talk about older games and all that, and this is one of those ones I think that opens that up. Like say, you've mentioned open world, you've mentioned the idea, like say, it's kind of free flowing with that. I mean, again, if you were, I was probably getting a little bit more of it than not because my dad was kind of a tech head. So I would say if you were 10 to 15 at the time this came out, um, you've played Atari games most likely, and they are very basic and they're very one screen. I know I've heard people talk about early Nintendo games where it's like, they were surprised that Mario kept going to the right for a while. This one here is like you're literally dropped in a place in the middle of South Africa, and you've got to go find people, save people from different buildings, locations, save them from, total annihilation with a mechanical death machine that has nuclear capabilities. So I even like I say even in 2025 now, I think it's something that should be given a shot because my only thing is like CJ, I recommend you try out your newer versions of it. But after that, I think it becomes hard to go back to this one.
That's fair.
So, like I say, if you have the opportunity to play the early Metal Gears, if you get the Metal Gear collection, start with the old one. Um, and then work your way up to the newer ones. But just know, yeah, you're going to, like you said, you're going to need a guide. You're going to need to do some research for it. Just because otherwise, yeah, you'll get tied into a whole lot of it. But I'm happy to have played this game this week. I will play it again, but it'll probably be several years before I come back around to it again. I get the itch or I see my poster hanging up there and it just makes me want to do it. Um, I know CJ, you said you're probably not too interested in playing this again. I didn't. Aiden, do you have a feeling you gonna finish this? You gonna go back and do it?
Well, as I talked about, I just got a Nintendo Switch, and I'm getting back into Xbox. Uh, I I might like you said, if I'm interested in the Metal Gear trilogy further on, I'd probably start with the basics. So I think I might come back to it, or at least try to beat it at least once to see to at least see the ending and progress. 'Cause like as you said, you start later on, you're not gonna want to go back to the NES. So I think so. If I'm here maybe later down the line interested in the Metal Gear trilogy, I probably go back to it.
I mean, like I said, I think if you have the time immediately, that you're about, you say I'd say you're probably about 40, 45% right where you're in, through the progress of the game.
Hmm.
It's a good time to pick it up, run with it, and like I say, use the walkthrough. They get those damn things done in probably I think an hour and a half. So I mean,
Yeah.
you take it at half speed, that's 3 hours. So you can maybe knock it out in a night. I took 2 sessions to get through it with the walkthrough on the second half and faintly remembering the first half in my head. So um well, I don't know. I guess at this point we don't have much else left other than let's tap and number this thing and let's see how great it is compared to some piles of shit we've done. Um
Like Contra.
CJ spoke. You got to run your mouth. Let's go. What do you got? What kind of number you got for us today?
All right. So overall, I think I end up landing at 7.5. I think the fact that it was so fresh, the music puts you in place. I do like the perspective of the overtop, like Aiden kind of touched on, where you know what's going on, but you can tell that your enemies don't. I like it overall. It's very interactive. I think the one thing that really brings it down for me is without the guide, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And with the guide, I almost feel like I didn't really accomplish anything in a way. So it's like, if I get to the end, it's like, yeah, but did I really figure it out? Did I really win? Or did I watch somebody else win so that I knew how to win? So it almost feels like kind of cheating, I guess. And that's kind of how I feel with modern video games. I at least try to give it a stab. And if there's something really difficult, I'll typically look it up. But I at least like to try to figure it out first. Because if you do get through it, accomplishing, you feel good, you ended up beating this hard game. Or like Aiden said, I'm sure in Elden Ring, if you pick up the needle and find the invisible man by yourself, you're like, holy fucking shit, this is awesome. But looking it up kind of does almost feel like, fuck, dude, gotta get through this. To me, it almost feels like just a little too cheaty. But I think that's what drags it down. But overall, still pretty solid game. I land at 7.5. It's a solid snake.
Old Snake. All right. I'll take that as a 7.5. So, Aiden, what kind of numbers you got for us?
Well, my reasoning behind this number, and I will tell you at the end, I think I'm a little less harsh on the guide compared to CJ, just because like I'm saying, sorry to bring it up again, from my Elden Ring, there's a lot of things in the game, and if I didn't look it up, I literally would have never found it. There's no way. So I mean, and I still feel accomplished when I do things like that. And I come from back in the day, from school library fairs or book fairs. I'd buy these little Minecraft books, and I'd read the guides to Minecraft. And I do think the video guides are a step up from that, and on the scale of cheatiness. But I still would feel accomplished, like if I read a Redstone guide, a little book, and how to figure out how to work Redstone. I'm like, oh, finally I know how to do this now. My mindset isn't, I cheated. I guess I'm not a true Redstone near. Uh,
Well, to add really quick on that, the only thing that I disagree with because on Metal Gear is in like Minecraft or in other games or in Elden Ring, it's like, oh, I had to look up how to out how to do this one little thing off to the side. I had to basically look up how to play the game. That was my big drawback because you can get in Minecraft and know what you're doing a
I
little
feel like
bit.
I don't. I kind of disagree a little bit because we I can see if you're a kid from the '90s and you have a summer with endless time, you could figure this out. I mean, it's the same with Minecraft.
Fair.
Any game, I did like to figure out all the things in Minecraft. Like, how long do you think you'd have to play Minecraft to figure everything out? You'd at least have to
That's
play
fair.
for days. I feel like if you played this game for days, you'd probably figure it out. Like days
Fair.
straight. I'm not saying like in a couple days. Like if you play this game for
Yeah.
days straight, like hours and hours and hours of game time, you figure it out. So with the thing, I feel
Fair.
like it's kind of a pioneer to this genre. It's very fresh. It's very new for the time. Graphics were good. Sound was good. I'm giving it an 8.2. Count
Yeah, 8.2. He's working in numbers there. I like that. Every time we come to this part, I don't want to say I hate this, but it's like
it.
I try to take off my nostalgia glasses and ooh, there you go, world. That's what I look like without glasses. Um, but I try to take it off and look at it for what it is. And I think that this is primitive, but it's so good. Um, and like I say, I think I looked at it more like a book, as reading it, knowing where you got to go. Yes, the guide just makes the book go long, so it's like learning to speed read, I guess, to some degree, instead of just really trying to pick your own adventure kind of deal. Um, I do recommend it for anybody who has the opportunity to play it. Whether you go one way or another, that's fine. If not, I'll throw this one out randomly because it just came to my mind. There is a game called Unmetal, UN Metal, and it's available. I know on the Switch. I think it's on Steam. I think it's on different places. Not getting paid, just a plug for a game. If you like Metal Gear, it's a raunchier, not too raunchy, but it's definitely a little more mature kind of version of this with a small touch of adult humor in it, but it's based off the 8-bit. It looks very 8-bit. It's funny. It plays well. It's a good couple hour play, 5 hour, 6 hour game. But come play this. Try this one out. If you like it, if it makes you feel good, play that one because it's a little bit easier to just follow along with. It kind of points you. But this, outside of its poor translation, which still is funny. Truck have started to move. I'm gonna go with 8.5. That I am bring myself off the nostalgia high. I was gonna say 9, but 8.5 all day. And I think that's my fair love for this.
I have a slight critique I forgot about. and this was accounted. I was thinking this while playing the game. I wish the little key cards were either color coded with a certain color, and each door had that color, so you don't have to. Because I get like before playing it, like I'm cycling through, and like I don't. This is 1, this is 2, this is 4, and like I have enemies chasing after me. I don't have time to cycle through these, or it's just a little bit of. It's a little bit of. I don't know how to explain it. It's just easier. I feel like it's an extra step that, or even number, like the door had a little number beside of it, would be really helpful, or something like that.
Or if
I
it
feel
just
like
automatically opened if you had it,
if you
you
had it,
know?
yeah.
The guide I
But
actually
yeah,
touched on that. They're like, "Oh no, they wanted it to feel like you dug around through that bag and figured out what fucking card worked." And yeah, no, they did. They definitely
Yeah,
did.
yeah. I mean, nothing more fun than hitting select, pick card 1. Nope. Hitting select, try card 2. Nope. You know,
Or getting
I think
shot in the back. Yeah.
I got up to about card 5 before I started paying attention to what the guide was telling me. Like this card here, that one there. Back up, like, oh, what card do
I
you
mean,
use? Like, okay.
or in the gas mask levels, like we have to switch from the gas mask to the key card. Like, what if you just guessed wrong? Like, fuck, I'm just dying now because I guessed the wrong number. Because you have
Yeah.
no way to
Yeah.
tell.
Fair.
If
Overall,
go ahead.
I was gonna just say overall it puts us at an 8, which is a good game in VGR's book.
It's a good game. It's a good game. But you guys like getting punished. I'll introduce you guys somewhere during the off season to Sierra Games, where basically it's designed to kill you 10 times before you get the puzzle right.
Hmm.
It's a good way to piss you off, but either way. Um, I guess like I said, we got a number, we got a finalization on that. I think collectively we're all pretty good with saying Metal Gear is a good game. You got time and willing to walk through, try it out. I think that sums up everything. I'm glad you guys liked it. But I know Aidan, you got something locked and loaded for us. What do you got happening?
Couple things to say. If you're listening to this on any audio platform, check us out on YouTube. We got some gameplay there. We got some different videos for you to check out. Check it out. Check us out at VGR Podcast. And another thing, next week, it's my game on the draft. I'm up next. We got a real hard hitter. CJ, if you think this one was hard, just you wait. We got Ninja Gaiden next week. I'm just saying, we're in for a fun episode and for a good episode, in for a good game. That's all I'm saying. You better be there next week.
You won't need a guide. You just need to get good. All you
Yeah.
gotta do, buddy. All you gotta do.
CJ's shaking in his boots here.
You,
No.
you should be. You should be.
You will be.
Yeah, even better. Hey, you know what? It's been fun. It's been real, guys. I thank you all for coming out and listening. My name's been Larry.
Solid Snake CJ out.
Big Doof in the building. See Aidan right here. I almost said CJ. Alrighty, guys. See you guys later.
Thanks for listening. Be well.
Peace.